In this video, we are going to be exploring that super game forgiving market, seeing which are the best irons out there and which ones might help you get better at golf. So if you're watching this video and you are struggling with your irons, or you have a slower swing speed, you are a high handicap golfer, you struggle to get your iron shots into the air, this video is very much for you. Now, if you were to list a problem with your iron shots, a lot of people would say those things. And the big manufacturers, that's what they're making strides towards. It's like they're saying, here you go, have an iron that will give you all these things. So first up, we have a set which has briefly appeared on the channel before, the Wilson Launchpad, the newest iteration of, and this is part of Wilson's super game improvement series. You'll see the link here. So these irons are a perfect example of the forgiving clubs that you can buy in this category, and Wilson still make, I think, some of the most underrated blades on the market. They are still, yes, historically I know, the most major winning brand with their irons, and they're springing a bit of that technology into play here. I am not joking when I say these are the most normal looking irons in this test. So this is a hollow headed design. Sounds like you're hitting a ball with a kettle as well, but feel wise, actually pretty good. It's also got a massive sole, so it helps the club glide along the surface of the ground. So it's going to be really hard to get these clubs digging into the turf. That's a nice shot. And as I've been hitting these irons over the last few weeks, I have just been super impressed with them. They sound a bit weird. They feel very powerful. And the actual flight is consistent. It's not like crazy ballooning like you might think it would be. Wilson have also talked about a paint and a finish on this that makes it resistant to scratching, and that would be very welcome because it is an absolutely massive club head. But it's also a claim I think we should test out. We'll do a very simple test. I've got a new gap wedge here, and I'm going to hit 10 shots. Now the bunkers over here at Finca Courtesan are just lovely, they're nice, they're actually fantastic to play out of. But this is a real test to see how resistant clubs are. They could throw a ping in here and it'll come out untouched. Okay, we have debris on the bottom. I was actually surprised how good this club was out of that bunker. Launch pads with this massive sole. Yeah, not too bad. Right, let's give this a clean. Let's give this a scrub. Well, I mean, it's pretty scratched up. I mean, it might be tricky to see because it's chrome and it's shiny, but I mean, that's scratched up exactly the amount that I would expect a chromed iron to scratch up after hitting 10 shots out of a bunker. What about the club face? So yeah, club face, very kind of scratched up, especially around the toe where it's making most of the impact. So yeah, I don't really know about that claim, to be honest with you. But apart from that, I think these irons are absolutely fantastic. Next, we have a super popular Gorilla brand that not many people have heard of. We've reviewed Sub 70 on the channel before, but the 799 irons are something really special to look at. So these irons are part of Sub 70's game improvement family. Again, the link continues. And I've got to be honest, when you put these down behind the ball, wow. Now, Sub 70 claim about these irons that they hit the ball higher and they hit the ball straighter. Now, we're going to have a look at the data. We are going to try and figure out if that's the case. But first of all, let's have a little bit of a test and have a chat about the tech which is in this golf club. I'm not gonna lie, that was a much better feeling sounding shot than what I was looking down on. So the 799s, they're a hollow headed construction, and then Sub 70 have injected it with a resin. So you think about P790s from TaylorMade, that kind of vibe. It's also got a very thin club face at 1.7 millimeters. So what Sub 70 say, and this is something which is common with a lot of hollow headed irons, is that the power and the energy transfer is higher, which will then allow you to hit those higher and straighter ball flights. But let's see if that is the case. And let's be honest, when these go down behind the ball, you know, I'm old enough to know the beauty comes in many, many forms. No. So we'll have a look at this height claim first of all. I've got my normal gamer iron here, so the T100S from Titleist, also in a 7 iron. And that's just a lovely strike, a lovely shot, just left of the pin. Lovely. So according to Sub 70, when I start to bash these away, it's going to be very high, very noticeable. When I put it down, the offset is huge. It's absolutely massive. This weird arse that it's got is so ugly. It's maybe the ugliest thing I've ever seen on a golf club, but remember, the Super Game Improvement category, guys, it's not all about looks, as we'll see from the last set of clubs that we've got. Now, I think you can probably tell that that went a little bit lower than my iron. However, I thinned the absolute pants off it. Still got to the green, which I think is a pretty good sign. I think we could probably scratch that one from the shot traces though. I don't think that's a true reflection. So that had a little bit more climb on it. It's pretty much finished in the same position. It's a nice strike. I've got to be honest, I've very rarely seen a golf club that feels and sounds as nice as this whilst looking like this, is the best way I can describe it. It feels really solid. It feels really nice. The sound isn't like the launch pad or anything like that either, which I thought it would be. Oh. Wow. That had an extra shooter distance, that one as well. These feel great. I can't believe I'm saying it. I'm looking at them. One thing which is so much more noticeable with these clubs compared to the other ones on the test is they are so heavy. They feel like I'm swinging something with a very big lead weight on the bottom of a shaft, and it is not unpleasant. I feel like these irons, I could just throw them down at the ball and it's gonna pop up. So a distance iron, which is very forgiving, feels very heavy, and flight-wise doesn't feel like a Super Game Improvement club. It feels a little bit more penetrating, a little bit more powerful rather than just going straight up in the air. So just showing you the ball flight of some of these clubs on the golf course, but I thought it best to also get the data to give you the numbers to go alongside what you've seen. And I was quite surprised, especially by the Sub 70 irons. So here is the data from the launch pads, the Sub 70s, and my normal gamer iron, the T100S from Titleist. Now the T100S is spinning the most, the launch pad is spinning the less. Now what a lot of these irons are meant to do is just launch the ball really high, be super forgiving and just carry it as far as possible, even on off-center strikes. However, the launch pad was launching the highest, but the Sub 70s were actually launching at the same degree as my Titleist. Now what that shows is that off the club face and trajectory wise, the Titleist and the Sub 70 are actually quite similar. Now that was a surprise. Yeah, I expected the launch pad and the Sub 70s just to be launching to space, and the launch pads were launching to space, a lot of launches there. But the T100S and the Sub 70s, surprisingly similar, worryingly similar in some respects. Now I've been teasing you all video, but I must warn all you golfing purists out there that these irons, or should I say hybrids, are definitely something different to have in the bag. If you are really struggling, hitting it fat, hitting it thin from the top, the bottom, the heel, the toe, or anything, then these 11 hybrids, a full set of them, might be the clubs for you. Now, I didn't actually realize before I got these clubs through that there's part of the same family as Sub 70, so I'm pretty sure they're kind of manufactured in around the same place. And they are exactly what I've said. They are full set hybrids that go all the way down to a pitching wedge. Yep, That's right, a pitching wedge, or I suppose you'd call it like a pitching hybrid, wouldn't you? Now, these aren't the only full hybrid set out there, but they may be one of the best I've tested, one of the maybe the best I've seen. Because it's got a hybrid shape, you can push the perimeter weighting around the outside, and that offers a lot of forgiveness. These have graphite shafts, so it's going to help you swing quicker as well. And to be honest, that for me is the beauty of these clubs. So that was very low, very heely, and it still got down towards my target, and it might have gone in. No, almost. Looks wise, I mean, they're nothing crazy. They've got a decent amount of offset. They feel quite nice. Once it gets down to the pitcher wedge, I ain't gonna lie, that ain't the look that I want to be seeing from a pitching wedge. But if you are struggling with your confidence, then it might be the perfect match. And 11 say they've got a new sole design on this, which allows it to be played from almost any lie.
Off the tee, the fairway, the bunker, first cut, thick rough, whatever lie that is. Out of a bush, off the path, from a golf club, out of the air, off the goat's head, out of Kieran's mouth. Ow!
Just a quick note here, I know obviously that got a little bit wild. So with these clubs, durability of the paintwork does seem to be a bit of an issue. But good news or bad news, depending on your feelings of this, these clubs all do come with head covers. It's not technically a bag of iron head covers because they're not irons. However, you would have a bag full of head covers. You feel good though. You do feel good. So just wanted to give you guys a comparison also with the 11 clubs to the other irons featured in this test, including my own. Now you'll notice here that the ball flight is much higher. Now that is to be expected with a hybrid design club. All the weight's much further back. You get the ball launching much higher. But what was quite surprising is it was spinning more, and it was also carrying less distance with slightly less ball speed. Now I would have expected these clubs to actually be the longest, when in fact they were the shortest and the slowest. Now that doesn't detract from how good they are off dodgy lies. It doesn't detract away from how easy they are to hit. But if you are looking for a purely distance club, then maybe these might not be for you. So out of these three sets, what would I recommend? So easiest to hit are definitely the 11s, although they do mark up the most. I would say that the launch pads are the best all-round package, while the sub 70s probably feel the best and perform more like a standard set of clubs whilst incorporating the forgiveness. If I was to pick one right now to go in my bag, I would probably pick the launch pads, which would be closely followed by the sub 70s and the 11s. One of the best things about these irons as well is that compared to some of the better player irons on the market, they're also a little bit cheaper, as well as being more forgiving and having that ability to be that super game improvement club. And let's face it, I think a lot of golfers could benefit from using these types of clubs compared to the ones that maybe currently are in their bag. So like this video, everybody, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And if you want to see more club reviews, check out these here.